From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBICD Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you're feeling the same. It is time for the premier sports betting show, and it's the Primetime Angles, baby. So you guys already know it's Friday. Happy Friday to you guys as well too. We had a good night last night with the games on TNT and everything like that. Lakers win. The Bucs won last night as well too. So all their fan bases are very happy. Buffalo wound up winning their game last night as well too. Even though it was kind of a crazy situation there at the end, but all in all, they still went ahead and they outlasted the Bucs 24-18 after surviving a missed Hail Mary at the buzzer. So Baker Mayfield was able to get up a pretty good pass there at the end of the night, and it almost hit Chris Goodwin for the go-ahead for the tying score, because I can't say that was going to be the go-ahead touchdown, but the score would have been tied. And it was pretty cool because what happened was that the Bucs kind of just had a little junky touchdown late in the game, and nobody thought much of it. And then what happens is the Bills wind up running the clock out somewhat, but not really running the clock out. So they were able to get back the ball there in the end, the Bucs, and they had themselves an opportunity to actually win this game last night. And when you look at the numbers, Baker Mayfield 25 of 42 last night, 237 yards. He threw for 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, but he was sacked 3 times last night. Also, you had a good effort from Rachaad White, who had some good moments in this game. Even though he only had 39 yards on the ground, he still had a pretty good game when it came to the receiving portion, because he had 7 receptions for 70 yards. So overall, he had 109 total yards of the 302 yards in total for this team. So that was a pretty good effort from him, because he got 30% of their offense last night. Also, pretty good defense was played by the Bucs as well too, but it just wasn't enough. The Bills had found themselves up 14 in the second half for most of the second half, and they really didn't ever really blink here. Even though the game got really close, it got super close, but you have that feeling that the Bills will overcome, and that's exactly what they did. Josh Allen had a good night last night, 31 of 40, 2 touchdowns. He did throw an interception. He was sacked twice last night, but he did get some support in the running game. James Cook, 14 touches, 67 yards. Shakir was an absolute gem. It looks like he got himself another receiver to go with Steph and Gabe. And last night, his receivers should be very happy. Both Gabe and Steph both had 9 receptions apiece. Davis was 87 yards, while Diggs was 70 yards, and Shakir was 92 yards. So they did a great job. And then Dalton Kincaid, the rookie, he was able to step in and get himself a touchdown last night as well too, and 5 catches as well. So that was something that's very good for this team moving forward. They played some pretty good defense last night. They had themselves 3 sacks, as I said before. Ed Oliver got in on the action, and it's always fun when we get an Ed Oliver sighting. So it was just a good game. And when you break down the stats, the Bills were dominant. 25 first downs to 17. Third down efficiency, they were over 50% in that category. Also, they threw for a nice amount passing wise, 324 in overall, and then rushed for 115 yards, and then had 68 plays to 62 last night. That's key, because teams have been getting more plays than the Bills the last few games, and last night that did not happen. But Both teams need to clean up their penalties going into next week. The Bucs had 11 penalties for 74 yards. The Bills had 9 penalties for 86 yards. They both got to be better as they go along this season. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But all in all, the Bills had a great effort last night in a ho-hum game that a lot of us expected them to win, and that's exactly what they did. But I know one thing, I kept telling myself as we kept getting closer and closer to kickoff, the Bucs are going to mess around and cover this game. And now the Bucs are 3-0 against the spread on the road. So that's something to notate going into their next road game as well, too. So with that, let's go ahead and move forward. And let's move. Oh, I almost ended the stream. Good that I didn't do that. But let's move forward and jump into the NBA. And we have Lillard shines in debut as Bucks win a thriller 117 over the 76ers in a home opener. Now you have a very good NBA season coming up. You got a lot of parity, you got a lot of new stars on teams, and you got a lot of storylines going into the season as well. And last night was a very good game. It was a very, very good game. But the Bucks pretty much blew a lead. Let's keep it real. The Bucks at one point were up, I think, 20 points, and literally they just let the 76ers just keep coming back. And the Sixers actually dominated the second half. They actually outscored them 63-55 after being outscored in the first half 54-63. So that was a good effort by them, but it just wasn't enough. You had Maxey lead the way last night for the 76ers with 31 points. Embiid followed up with 24 on his side with 7 rebounds, 6 assists. But those 7 turnovers have to be cleaned up. And he had 5 personal fouls last night as well, too. So he got a little timid there at the end. Kelly Oubre looks like he's going to be a great addition to this team. Kelly Oubre had 27 points last night in 32 minutes, 9 of 11 on shooting, and 5 of 6 from the three-point line, and was able to grab 4 rebounds as well, too. But another guy that had 3 turnovers as well, so that kind of played a part into the turnover-laden game that they had last night. And it just wasn't good, to be honest with you. 15 turnovers, that's just kind of unacceptable for a team like the Sixers. But you know what? They forced 14 on the other side from the Bucs. So that's something that you can tip your cap on, but you weren't protecting the ball either. Tobias Harris had a good game. He only missed 1 shot last night, and he went 8 for 9. 3 of 3 from the 3. He had 20 points last night, so that was pretty good. But Kelly Oubre pretty much scored all the points from the bench. Pat Beverly made his debut last night. It was decent. It wasn't anything to, write home about. 2-2-2. And then Reed was okay last night as well, too. But all in all, do you like what you see from Tyrese Maxey? It makes you know that you don't have to depend on James Harden to really move this team forward because they found the guy that can complement Embiid. Tobias Harris can complement Embiid. Oubre can complement Embiid. And I know what they're doing. They're waiting on this elusive trade that's going to bring the superstar that they need to really push themselves forward because the whole James Harden era in Philadelphia is about over. So pretty much with that's going to be a wrap on that game right there. It was a great game. And you know what? Let me go ahead and talk about Dame Lillard a little bit. This is a wrap on talking about the 76ers. Dame Lillard had 39 points last night, 9 of 20 from the field, 4 of 12 from the three-point stripe. You know what? Another just ho-hum Dame Lillard game, and really he made up for it with the 17-17 from the free throw line. But he was plus 12 points for his team last night. Giannis was really good last night, 23 points, 13 rebounds. That's exactly what you want a Giannis to do. That's doing MVP stuff right there. Giannis wound up having 7 turnovers last night too, just like Embiid. So he's going to have to be hold on to that ball a little bit better. And, he had 3 assists last night. Brook Lopez was good with 13 points last night, but he only had 2 rebounds. He's going to have to clean that up and be better. You can't put it all on Giannis. I'm telling you. I'm getting tired of these centers having 2 rebounds a game and things like that. Centers should be getting at no less than 9 to 10 rebounds a game. Their job is to get rebounds. Let's stop the lollygagging at the three-point line. Brooke and many others. Chris Middleton had more rebounds than you last night with 3. And he only had 6 points So he's really coming back from that injury and everything. So he's trying to put it back together. And Malik Beasley, fresh off of sitting on the bench with the Lakers the last month of the season, he had 5 points last night, hit a three. Crowder was pretty good last night as well too. Went 3 or 4 from the field. We had 9 points, and then Bobby Portis, as usual, a great asset off their bench. He scores 10 points. He gets himself 6 rebounds, 2 assists last night. They were very key to this team getting ahead and actually being able to close out this game as well too. But Dame Lillard, great debut for the Milwaukee Bucks. He's dropped 39 points last night. I think that's the most in the league already for this year for anybody in a game. But we'll see how it goes, because this is going to be a fun weekend for the Bucks, because they have their next game coming up. They have their next game coming up on Sunday, and that's going to be against Atlanta. So that should be a lot of fun. And then they play Miami Monday night to try to get the revenge factor going from last year. So with that, that's going to be a wrap on the Bucks and the 76ers last night, and a very, very good game all the way into the end. So pretty much let's jump into the state of the Lakers. And the Lakers last night get their first win of the season. They wound up winning that game 100-95. The Lakers needed a great fourth quarter. They outscored the Suns by 17, only allowed 11 points to their 28, and were able to win that game. The Lakers were down 12 going into the fourth quarter, wound up winning the game by 5. So that was just really good for this squad to get a win like that, but they were at home. The Suns were shorthanded, and the Suns led throughout the whole game. They literally led the whole game until we got into the final minutes of the fourth quarter, when the Lakers took over the game. So pretty much it was just a very, very ho-hum game for the Lakers. I feel like there's a lot of things that still need to be worked out. The chemistry's just really not there yet. Gabe Vincent was getting killed on defense last night, but he was decent enough to get some assists last night. He was able to get some points. He was actually the highest plus-minus guy last night for some odd reason, but he was. And then you had AD, who had an excellent game last night, 30 points, 13 rebounds. He did exactly what he's expected to do. LeBron gets his 21 and gets damn near a triple-double, and pretty much he leads the way, and he was very fresh most of the night, and so that was worked out pretty good for the Lakers as well too. And then you had some good efforts from D'Angelo Russell, who finally, did exactly what all of us have been asking him to do. Just step it up and have a good night. And he had 14 last night. He's still 6 of 16, shooting 1 of 7 from 3. But you could see that the assertiveness and the aggressiveness, and you liked it a lot. Actually, Austin Reeves was pretty good last night, even though he only had 10 points. Yeah, he went 4 of 7 from the field, and he went 1 of 2 from the 3-point stripe. And so pretty much he had a pretty good game, but I think that he was a little reckless last night as well too. Even though he only had 1 turnover, he just wasn't playing with high basketball IQ that we're all used to. But it's the start of the season. I think that he's trying to make sure that he keeps his role intact, because you know what? At the end of the day, Prince and Reeves are guys that know that they can be taken out the starting lineup in a snap, because they're really interchangeable. And I really felt like Ham should have started Rue Hachimura, and he should have started Christian Wood. But Terran Prince is going to be pretty good, because he's a good defender. He's a good shooter. Last night he wasn't. He was 0 of 5 and hit no threes last night. So he was a little null and void. No, he was big null and void last night. Cam Reddish got himself 4 points last night on 11 minutes of play. You want to see more from Cam, but I was impressed with Christian Wood. He got 10 rebounds last night to go with this 7 points, 2 of 7 from the field, but that's because you're shooting up threes. If guys just kind of live in the paint a little bit more, they're going to get their stats up a little bit more. The Lakers need you to be living in the paint a little bit more. And then you can also get those bunny fouls, or those really hard fouls that guys are going to hit you with. I don't know if guys are scared of contact, or they just scared that the guards won't pass them the ball anymore if they just take advantage of an offensive rebound. So, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But the Lakers, to me are still in an evaluation point. You can't sit up in here and say the Lakers are a title contender. You can't sit up here and say that the Lakers are a lottery team. They're really enigma right now. You don't know what they truly are. But as games keep going, we will be able to tell exactly who they are. But right now, after 2 games, there's still much to be desired with this Laker team. And I know that they're just getting everything together and just getting down all the basics that you need to move forward to have a great season. And I know that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to make sure what's the right mix, what's the right fits, and then we'll go from there. So, with that, that's going to be a wrap on State of the Lakers, and we move forward to the World Series Game 1, with the Diamondbacks being a plus 135 dog, with the Rangers being a minus 155 favorite, over under 8.5. All going down at Global Life Park tonight. So you have a Diamondbacks team that's looking to once again win another Game 1 on the road, even though their streak did get snapped by the Phillies last series. So in Game 1s on the road, they're 2-1. Okay. Texas is now blessed to finally be able to play a home game to start the series off. They've been playing on the road in each game to start their series off. So this is something new. This is something that's going to be a little different for the Texas Rangers, but it would have been the same thing for the Diamondbacks. So the Diamondbacks are bringing Zach Gallen to the mound, and then the Texas Rangers are starting the vet, multiple World Series pitcher Max Scherzer in Game 1. I think that's kind of a stretch. No, not Max Scherzer. I'm sorry. Nate Eovaldi started. Max Scherzer started Game 7. Sorry. But I would have started John Gray tonight. I just don't. I just think John Gray deserved the right to be the starter tonight, because I know this is going to sound crazy, but I watch baseball on a daily basis, and I felt like John Gray was always really the hidden ace of the group. Even when DeGrom was there struggling and getting hurt, I felt John Gray was the most consistent person they had in the group. And I feel like John Gray should have started for this game right here. But Bruce Bochy knows what he's doing. He's been a manager for 30 years. I've been just talking sports for 20. So, he knows more than me because he's out there with them every day. But when you look at the way that if you're playing a hot hand, or if you're playing a guy that that's been the rock for you all year, then you should go with him. But Eovaldi brings the experience. We all remember what Eovaldi did. 9 innings going into an extra inning game, held the Dodgers at bay for as long as he could until the inevitable happened. The Dodgers wind up winning the game. But Eovaldi will be a guy that's going to get you at least 4 innings today if he doesn't get hit early. And I got a feeling he's going to get hit early, because the Diamondbacks are going to be very patient with their at-bats, and they're going to try to make sure they're hitting the best pitches. And that's all I've seen with the Diamondbacks their last few series. They wait for the perfect pitch. They kind of have their mentality like how the Yankees used to have their mentality with Joe Torre. Don't chase, and make sure that you step to the best pitch. And that's exactly what the Diamondbacks are doing. You don't see them swinging that ugly stuff. So that's something that's going to be key for them tonight. And that's something that they're going to have to attack very early. And I feel like the Rangers are going to have a lot of people already betting on them to win this game tonight, and already banking on them to win the game tonight, because the Rangers look like the way better team. And as I said on the Mike Abadir show yesterday, I said that, the Rangers at one point were the best team in baseball for 2 months. So it's not like they wouldn't have been a higher seed if they didn't have a bit of a hiccup there in the last 6 weeks, or if they didn't have to absolutely fight for their spot. You know what I mean? And pretty much this team could have been a 100-win team, but they went on a losing streak at one point during the late stages of the year. This only made this team stronger, and that's why they do loom the danger, and that's why everybody's backing them now. But the Arizona Diamondbacks are playing with house money, and they're young and they're stupid. They don't know what they're doing right now, and that's a dangerous combination. And that's why I say tonight The Arizona Diamondbacks are going to come in here a very confident team with nothing to lose. They're not even supposed to be here, and they're going to wind up winning this game. So I'm going to circle the Diamondbacks to win the game, but the big bet here is going to be the under 8.5. So with that, we move forward. Let's go ahead and get ready for our first commercial break. And when we get back, I'll jump into the NBA Friday night. So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune into Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
Right, we're back with the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And let's go ahead and jump into our next topics in hand, and that's going to be the NBA Friday night. We got 11 games tonight in the NBA, and all really good games. We got a lot of games that are just, we're figuring this thing out. It's early. You can't sit up in here and say, oh, man, this team's going to be in the finals and this team's not going to be in the playoffs, blah, 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 blah. Nah, man, it's about picking up momentum, and some teams pick up momentum, and some teams with expectations don't start cooking until 3 or 4 months from now. So, you got to be able to take everything with a grain of salt here. And we're playing an in-season tournament as well, too. So I expect a lot of the teams that are going to be bottom tier teams to be really good the first 6 weeks of the season, are really bettable, as I would like to say. But, it is what it is at the end of the day. It's a lot of fun. It's going to be a fun weekend. That's why I say that you can give certain teams chances at this point of the year, because everything's fresh, everything's new, and some teams are shorthanded, and some lines makers are not noticing that. So, it is what it is. So pretty much let's go ahead and jump into our first game, which is going to be the Nuggets, who are 1-0, going against the Grizzlies, who are 0-1. The Grizzlies come in as a rare home dog, plus 5.5. Over under 220.5, but it's very understandable. It's the Nuggets. The Nuggets are the defending world champions. They're fresh off of a 12-point win over the Lakers. And, they looked good, but they weren't dominant. The Lakers just were a little inconsistent that night. But all in all, though, you have to show up to win the game. And so there's no real excuses there. But all in all, you have Jokic coming back. He had 29 points the other night. He's looking to go ahead and keep adding to that. He had a triple-double to be exact, 13 rebounds, 11 assists as well, too. So he's looking to keep adding on to that. Jamal Murray had 21 points the other night as well, too. He's looking to be pretty good tonight. And when you look at the Grizzlies side, you got Desmond Bane, who had a 31-point night the other night. Marcus Smart scored 17. Tillman had 17 as well, too. So if they can get some good defense from these guys tonight, it should be something that's going to be very helpful for the Grizzlies. But the Nuggets look pretty primed to have a big night, because they don't have Ja on the other side. Now, if they had Ja on the other side, it would be a little different, because they would have to be more accountable on the defensive end. And that means that this positionless lineup would get a little exposed, because they got guys that are very tall and athletic, but speed-wise, they might not be fast guys. You know what I mean? I don't see it. You know what I mean? And Caldwell Pope is a guy that would have been, keyed in on Morant tonight, but Morant probably would have had his way with them as well, too. But you look at the rest of this group, their starting five is really good. You know what I mean? They're starting, but without Bruce Brown, there's a lot of questions with this team for me. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But the way that I see this game setting up tonight is just like this. I'm going to go ahead and take this with the I'm actually going to go ahead and take this game as a under 222. It's at 220 and a half, but it's skyrocketed up to 222 since then. When I put the bet in, when I was putting in the script, it was 220 and a half. When I put in the bet, it was 222. So it is what it is at the end of the day. So pretty much there it is. Grizzlies Nuggets kick off our first games for the Super High Five. All right, we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into this one. It's going to be the Heat at the Celtics. The Heat come in here 1-0. The Celtics 1-0. Celtics 8.5 point favorite and over under 217.5. We know why the Celtics are a big fave, because the big four is nice. And you know what? We don't know who the Miami Heat are necessarily yet, because the Miami Heat are slow starters, slow cookers. Yes, they got a good win the other night, but it was the Pistons and they only beat them by 1 point. That does not make a difference though here, because they have the Celtics number. It seems like every time they go to Boston, they give the Celtics real fits. And tonight could be one of those nights as well too. That's why I say that the plus 8.5 is a absolute gimme. But I know there's going to be some injury issues going on with the Heat that have the Heat that big of a dog tonight, but it's all good. I still think that it's still early in the season. Last night should have proved a lot of things to you, with the Suns being able to cover the way that they did against the Lakers and being shorthanded. So the Heat, who are already very familiar with the Celtics, I would not hesitate to take them with the plus 8.5 tonight. I think that's a strong bet. The Heat played a really good game to get themselves to get themselves some confidence, but they wanted to be better, and the Celtics had to fight, claw, and scratch against the Knicks. And you had a big game from Tatum, and then you had Porzingis with his 30, and they combined for 64 points. And when you put the big three together, they went ahead and got actually 83 points as a group, 84 points as a group. So that was 84 of the 108 points. So they scored a high volume of the points the other night. And then, they also were able to be very good on the boards as well too, with Tatum getting 11 boards and Porzingis getting 8 of them. So this team knows exactly what they have to do. But the other night they looked really good as that big four group, and then you add in Derek White, they looked exceptional. And there's a lot of things that are working out in their favor right now. But you know what? The Heat look to be the spoiler tonight. They don't care. That's the one thing. They don't care. And Jimmy at 19, Bam had 22 the other night. Tyler's back, he had 16. And then you had K-Love dropping his 13, and Duncan Robinson off the bench had 15 the other night. So what can they do? It looks like they're only running about 7-8 deep at this point with the Heat. So this is going to be a game that they're going to have to really get gutsy with, in my opinion. But I still think they can. That's why I'm going to go ahead and take them with the plus 8.5 tonight. I think that's a good number right there. I don't know if we chase them as a dog tonight. We'll just go ahead and take the insurance tonight with the plus 8.5. Meaning that if they lose by 8 or less, then, we cash the ticket. If they win, good for them. We just don't get the bonus, but we cash the ticket. You get my drift? All right, so let's go ahead and move forward. Let's jump into our next game, and it's going to be this one right here. It's going to be the Thunder at the Cavs, and the Thunder coming here in 1-0. The Cavs are 1-0. You have a 4.5 point spread to the Cavs at home tonight, over under a 227.5. And this is going to be a very, very, very strategic game tonight. I think that SAG became pretty much a top 5 player. He absolutely cooked it up the other night, beat the Bulls, got some new toys with him as well too with Chet Holmgren. So there's a lot of things that you say to yourself, OKC's building something special here, and they don't have to let the whole world know about it. Just keep building what we built, and that's something of beauty right now, in my opinion. And I think that they got a lot of good things going on with this team, and they will be a team that's probably going to wind up being in the top 6 of the Western Conference this year, or at least in the playoff mix to where they are going to be in a play-in situation. But this could be a team that could loom the danger to be one of these in-season tournament finalists. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you, guys got to start thinking. You guys got to get out of this mentality that they keep handing you with the LeBrons of the world and the Steph Currys of the world, the Kevin Durant's of the world. They're all old news, bro. They seriously are. They all have about 2 to 3 years left of being these top tier players. So you have to start recognizing who the best players are in the league who are young. And SAG is one of them. Donovan Mitchell's one of them. And you know what? This is going to be a great game tonight. You have OKC fresh off their win. Cleveland had to fight a little bit, but they got themselves a nice gritty win in Brooklyn the other night against a gritty team. So this game does present a very peculiar setting because you have two teams that are pretty much identical, in my opinion. They're young, they got a lot of good talent, and they both play heady, steady defense, and they both play high-end offense. So I feel like tonight this game winds up going over because I feel like the scores are gonna be out. SAG and Donnie are gonna put on a show for this crowd in Cleveland, and they're gonna be the talk of the night on Sports Center. I promise you that this is gonna be one of those games right here. And I feel like Chet Holmgren, if you play his over point total tonight, I think you're going to hit that tonight. I think he's up for 20 points tonight, to be honest with you. And Evan Mobley should have a good game tonight with blocks and rebounds as well, too. So that's something that you guys can look at as well, too, in your prop department. But there's a lot of good things going on both sides here, and both these teams are trying to come of age. But they have two guys that are absolute all-stars right now, and then they got guys behind them that can be all-stars. So that's what makes this game very exciting because both these teams are really good at what they do best. So with that, we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into our next game, which is going to be this one right here, which is going to be the Rockets and the Spurs. This is a Southwest rivalry game, but good old Texas two-step game, Mountain Division game. You guys already know. They've been playing each other for 40 years now. So it's been always a lot of fun with the Rockets and the Spurs. And, the Rockets always get to have their little say that, they were in the NBA first and everything like that because, the San Diego Rockets, they moved to Houston, all that good stuff. And then the Spurs come from an ABA merger. So, they got those little things. And also, we still got 1994, 95 actually, big series. Rockets beat the Spurs. Hakeem beats David Robinson. Very memorable, man. I just can never forget that series, how just epic it was. And it just wound up being Hakeem getting his dream on and reminding everybody I'm still the best player in the NBA. That was just absolutely incredible. But today we have a whole different storyline. We got this guy named Wemby. Wemby is a 7'5" French man that they feel is going to be the next face of the NBA. He's a can't miss prospect, all that good stuff. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. And I don't care what you say. I'm just not impressed yet. I just feel like a guy got some low IQ, and that's something that you got to fix, to be great in this league. Being a talented player, everybody's talented in the NBA, but you got to be a smart player. And hopefully he sees the tape and will make the improvements that need to be made because we'll see how well his brain works tonight in a game like this. No pressure, no ESPN cameras in your face, no TNT cameras in your face. You just get to play with your regular network, and it shouldn't be anything that's crazy, but there is a lot of fan hoopla going on in San Antonio as well too. So there is a little bit of pressure. But the Rockets, I feel like they want to make up for that bad effort the other night. They got beat by 30 points, and they looked bad. They looked really bad. And they just couldn't get things going in the right way because it's a brand new team. And I know that everybody got chewed out after that game. You know what I mean? And I know guys like Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet told them, you can't play like this in the NBA, fellas. You know, we came here to help you guys win. We didn't come here to just pick up money and just hang out. No, we came here to help y'all win because we have to keep our NBA reputations intact. And I know that was a great gut check game for a team like the Rockets that has the talent to be a really good team. Amen Thompson, hopefully he'll get some good playing time tonight. Also, you have Asur Thompson, man, Thompson twin. You know, hopefully that bad gets some time tonight, straight up, because I think both those guys are much better than Wemby. So that's just me though. But I truly do feel that this game right here is going to be a over bet to the Spurs. Everybody has this idea that the Spurs are a good team, and they're not. Wemby is a great project, a great specimen, something that you can build upon. But these aren't the guys that he's going to be building with. These are the guys that he's just stuck with for the year as they keep improving this roster. There was a lot of things that lost them the game the other night. It wasn't Wemby. So if they go and have that same type of effort tonight to where they are making, bonehead mistakes and overshooting and overdoing it, they're going to really get popped because they have the crowd with them. The game's on ESPN. The energy is a little different. Tonight, the game is not going to have the same energy. It's going to have roaring fans, but it's not going to have the same energy because you don't have the whole world looking at them. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But I like the Rockets tonight as my dog of the day, plus 125. And as you can see, they're going down. They opened up as a plus 140. Now they're going down to plus 125. By the time we get the tip, they'll be plus 115. I guarantee, with a 2.5 point spread. And boom. So let's go from there and let's get into our final game before we go to another commercial break. And it's a battle of the Bay with the Golden State Warriors going against the Sacramento Kings. So it's pretty much San Francisco versus Sacramento, or Oakland versus Sacramento. You know what I mean? Or Oakland versus Richmond, or whatever. It's the battle of the Bay. These teams, it's fun to see both these teams finally really good at the same time. I've never seen the Warriors and the Kings be relevant teams at the same time. And the Kings are trying to build on what they did last year. The Warriors lost their first game of the season because, of course, they're the Warriors. They put them in a tough spot against the Suns. And then the Kings, they kind of had an easy out with playing against a Jazz team that's a work in progress, that's really pushing their team towards, getting some good draft picks this year because, they pretty much, robbed Minnesota for a ton of them, and they took a ton of them from the Cavs as well, too. So they have a plan in place to build a team yearly or move these assets around so they can build this team. So that game was kind of a wash for the Kings, but the Kings have shown us that with the group that they have, they're dangerous this year. They're very dangerous this year. They got a lot of things that they've improved on. And another year up under Mike Brown, this team's even more confident. So that's a scary situation for the rest of the NBA because they thought they was fluky, but they not. This team is really good. The Warriors, I'm telling you right now, I feel like they victory lapping right now. But they are a big, significant trade away from fixing things. And I think that person who's going to probably be involved in this trade situation, and I hate to put it out there like that, Klay Thompson, because they're trying to work on the extension with Klay. Klay's agent ain't hearing that. The Warriors got an idea. His agent has an idea. It's just not working out the way that they want to. So instead of trying to let him walk or anything like that, you're going to have to get some pieces for him. Or you're going to have to get something for him that's going to be of equal value somewhat. So for him to not go to the Lakers in free agency on them, they're going to have to find a team because let's keep it real. when Klay Thompson becomes a free agent, he's going nowhere but to the Lakers, okay? Because that's like a childhood dream. He's worked out with the Lakers literally his whole life, even though he's played for the Warriors. If the Lakers had a smarter GM at the time, Klay Thompson would have been a Laker. It's a lot of just things that just play into it, that it's inevitable that he's going to be a Laker. But the Warriors know that they ain't running the Bay no more. This is who runs the Bay now. Even though they won that series last year in Game 7 and all that good stuff, the Kings know they slipped up hard in that series, really hard in that series. They gave up 3 games in a row after winning the first 2. So what they know what they have to do is they got to become better finishers this year. And they can't let the stage fright get to them, and they can't let people get in their ear. So no Draymond tonight. That's very helpful for this team. And also, they have pretty much everybody healthy tonight as well, too. The Warriors, on the other hand, they're going through the motions, and the Warriors probably are going to be a slow cook. And how can we trust the Warriors on the road? The Warriors are one of the worst road teams last year and the year before. So how can we trust this team on the road? That's the biggest question. So tonight, I'm going to take Sacramento to cover this spread. I think they win this game by 5 or more points. So with that, that's going to be a wrap on our NBA Friday night. And when I get back, we are going to talk our conference bets list, and then we're going to get into talking tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and I'll be right back at you.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
We're back with the Premier Sports Betting Show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. Let's go ahead and jump into the conference bets list that we have for this week. In the conference bets list, and you guys already know, talking tickets. So pretty much up first we have the AAC bets list, and FAU minus 165 tonight. I'm rolling with them, and then we have the minus 20.5 to the SMU tonight is tomorrow, and SMU is in a game against Tulsa. Tulsa is struggling right now, so I know that it seems like you should take the 20.5, but I just don't trust Tulsa, and Tulsa has really been tossed up the last few years by SMU. So let's not play with it and just go ahead and take SMU to go ahead and take care of their business in that spot. Then you got North Texas. North Texas is playing against Memphis in against them in Waco, actually. I think that's where they play at. I think Waco or somewhere up there in northern Texas. But all in all, they seem to be a team that's going to be able to really be able to get themselves situated right in that type of game, because, Memphis just doesn't see what's coming. And I think the game's going to wind up being a lot closer than what any of us signed up for it to be. So that's why I'm taking a +7. I think they're going to play very well at home. So that's why I'm taking them there. And we also have ECU. ECU is a team that they're bad. They're terrible. But ECU gets better as the season goes along. And I just truly do feel that what happens here is that they wind up giving us a very good situation here where they wind up getting themselves a very, very good win. You know what I mean? A very good cover, not a win, but a cover is a win anyway. I don't think they win the game outright, but I know that they have a lot that says they can cover in this game because this team getting 18 and a half, just come on, dude. You know what I mean? But I understand because ECU has been just that bad. And Tulane playing against Rice, this is kind of a tricky situation because Rice played really well last week, and they've had at least 9 days off since that point. And I know that they're fresh and they're very confident going into this game because it is a home game. But I still feel like Tulane's just too much for this team. That's why I'm going to take them with the 10.5 in this spot. All right, we got the ACC bets list last night. We had Syracuse. As you guys know, they got absolutely cooked. You know what I mean? Deep fried. You know what I mean? Wake Forest plus 20.5 against Florida State. Florida State seems to be really drag-assy with the bad teams in the conference. But all in all, I just feel like they only win this game by 17 or less. Clemson, on the other hand, I think Clemson absolutely has a weekend this weekend. I'm taking them with the 9.5. I just don't trust North Carolina State to be in the game because I've been here with them before, and North Carolina State has just been getting absolutely thrashed. But they're not a bad team. It's just that they're getting thrashed. You know what I mean? Virginia and Miami. Virginia has been tough on Miami the last few years. They've made it really hard on them. And after beating North Carolina the way that they did, and Miami absolutely having to lay down to North Carolina, why would I take Miami on an 18.5 against a team that just beat a team that beat the brakes off of them a few weeks back? Okay, I'm Virginia plus 18.5. Let's roll. All right, Duke in pretty much the game of the week, but it wasn't significant enough for me to make it one of my games of the week, even though it's number 20 versus number 18. I like Duke with the plus 165 money line out there, one of my better dogs of this week. I think they go in there to Louisville and they absolutely wreck shop. They're going to be really good in this game. So I like them with the plus 165. And UNC finally goes on the road, it seems like. It seems like they've been at home forever. They go on the road to play Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's been god-awful this year, and this is a good bounce-back win for UNC if they're able to win it the way that I need them to win it, and that's going to be winning it by 2 touchdowns or better. So the 11.5 with UNC, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out, and we move forward from there. We have ourselves the Big 12. We got Kansas, as I talked about yesterday, as one of my bigger dogs with the plus 290. We also have Houston at plus 17.5. I think they kind of messing around with Houston a little bit too much because Houston's in a spot where they saying that they're going to get absolutely cooked by Kansas State, but they took Texas to the limit. I don't get it. So Houston with the plus 17.5 without a doubt. And then I like West Virginia this week. I think West Virginia could be a good upset bet as well, too, money line wise against UCF in a wide open game. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how it shakes out. Then we have Baylor, who's plus 125 money line. They're going against Iowa State. They always play really well against Iowa State and Waco. So I'm just playing off that factor right there, and we go from there. Texas versus BYU. BYU has seemed to not really step it up against the top tier teams of the Big 12. They've had their issues, and I'm just thinking about the way they got embarrassed against Kansas. I'm just thinking to myself that Texas, had their way with Kansas, and they should probably have their way with BYU as well too in Austin. And then we got Oklahoma State 7.5. This one was a tricky one for me because I almost took the 7.5. I almost took the plus 7.5 here, but I told myself Cincinnati is getting assimilated to this conference. They kind of have fell apart in the last few weeks and everything like that. So you can't trust them in this game. The Cowboys get to play over in Stillwater. They've been playing great football. They've been dropping a lot of points on the board lately. Why not? Let's go ahead and take the 7.5 on Oklahoma State, and we roll from there. All right, we got the Big Ten, and I'm taking Northwestern. I know it looks a little tricky, but they're at home. They're plus 14. Maryland has been being too cute for me lately, so I got to go ahead and shake things up a little bit. So hopefully Northwestern doesn't get beat down too bad. They only lose this game by 10 or less. Then we have Indiana, who's going against Penn State. Penn State is looking like an absolute juggernaut when they're not playing teams like Ohio State or Michigan. So they'll probably be all in on this one, but they just want to get out this game and win. So covering the spread is not like their intention like that. If they cover the spread, good for them. But if they don't, they don't care. So when you have a team with that mentality, you know that they're probably not going to cover the spread. So I'm going to take the plus 32.5 on Indiana. Then we got Nebraska going against Purdue. This is a very much a toss-up game. A lot of people are going to take Purdue as a dog bet this week, but I just don't trust Purdue in this spot. I feel like Nebraska at home in Lincoln, they'll go ahead and get themselves a nice win because the winnable games, they got to win these games to keep the fans somewhat, interested. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, they can really go ahead and play themselves out of being a fan favorite, because they own the state of Nebraska, but for how much longer? You got Minnesota going against Michigan State. Michigan State struggling. This almost was a circle Michigan State type of game, but Minnesota is going to absolutely wreck shop at home against a Michigan State team that's just absolutely struggling to, stay focused. It's tough. I know it's all it's a tough situation for that team. It's really, really tough for that team moving forward. And then we got Wisconsin, Ohio State in the NBC primetime game Saturday night. And I like Wisconsin with the plus 14.5. I'm not saying Wisconsin wins this game. I'm just saying Wisconsin can cover in this game. But Ohio State knows what time it is. They're going to have to really put the chin strap on and lock in because this is a national television game. The crowd's going to be loud, ignorant, and ready to run and ready to rush the field if the Wisconsin Badgers win this game. So Ohio State has to be on alert that this is not a walk in the park. This is not an easy game. And you know what? F that spread because they just over here trying to make sure that they get some Wisconsin money. They know that this game is really a 5.5 point spread. Let's keep it real. So with that, we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into just results. Conference USA, you guys know I did bets for them all week long, but we wound up hitting three out of 4 of them. And we got New Mexico State home plus 115. We also got Liberty home 4.5. We got UTEP home with the plus 155. And then I was dumb enough to take FIU, knowing that Jacksonville State was probably going to absolutely annihilate them. And that's exactly what they did. So with that, we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into our Mac Daddy Make It Jump bets list. And Mac, I got the Eastern Michigan plus 125 in their game against Western Michigan. And then I also have Miami of Ohio in a very good game against Ohio, another rivalry game. So that should be another really gem of a game. And so hopefully we can go ahead and get these two home. So with that, we move forward and we have ourselves the Mountain West bet list. And the Mountain West bet list is going to be Wyoming plus 4.5 in their game against Boise State at Boise State. It's a toughie, but we know Wyoming is capable and more than capable of going and beating their arch rival Boise State. And then we have Colorado State that's playing in a game that is against a very tough Air Force team. But guess what? They're bitter rivals as well, too. So I like Colorado State to keep this game manageable, and I like them with the plus 14. And then you have Fresno State going against the upstart UNLV Rebels. Finally, the UNLV can finally say, you know what? We got something cooking over here. They're 6-1 going into this game against Fresno State, who's 6-1 as well, too. And then you have Hawaii with the nightcap game. They're going against San Jose State. San Jose State's getting 10 points. And we all know that Hawaii's not playing good enough to where you can say, let's money line them. But Ohio, we know it's Hawaii. And we know that when guys get down there, they're going to have a little bit of fun. You know what I mean? And so hopefully they get a little bit distracted and Hawaii winds up only losing this game by a touchdown or less. So with that, we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is now became the best conference in America. We, without a doubt, they're going to have somebody in the CFP this year. It's just you cannot deny that. Oregon, I know I'm risking because Utah is one of the toughest places to win a game at, especially by a touchdown or better. But I just think that Oregon's that much better than Utah, and they're not going to make the same mistakes that UCLA made and that USC made. So I'm going to go ahead and take them with the -6.5. USC is in a bounce back situation. They've lost their last 2 games in a row. They're going against an arch rival in Cal, and this is their final conference game against each other in the football world. So this is going to be emotional. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be one that a lot of people are going to be very, very sad about. You know what I mean? Because it's not going to be Cal USC as a standard game every year. But all in all, I think USC is going to go ahead and have a day. And I think they win this game by 2 touchdowns or better. And they're actually going to probably have their best defensive performance of the season as well, too. I'm calling it right now. So play the under wherever the point total is at for Cal. All right. So Stanford, you're going against Washington. Washington's starting to get a little bit of kinks in the armor. They're not that impressive to me. They got Mike Penix, who's a pretty good quarterback, but the guy's like 30. So, they're going to ball. And they got NFL wide receivers. So it makes it look that much better. But all in all, though, they could slip up, but I don't think they lose the game. But Stanford's going to make them work a little bit in this one, just like Arizona State made them work a little bit in the game last week. Now, I do like Arizona State as a possible upset winner. I know they're not playing great football, but Washington State's not playing great football right now either. And then they return back to the desert as well, too, where it was House of Horrors for Washington State. So pretty much you have this Arizona State team, and I got them covering. I think that they keep this game very close, and we'll go from there. And then I love Arizona in their spot right now. Arizona is in a game against Oregon State that can go either way. This team has actually became a way better team as since losing to USC. You know what I mean? They could have beat USC, but they missed on that. And then they've just been able to keep things very, very honest. And they were able to get that monster win over Washington State, who was still ranked at the time. They beat them 44-6. So Zona has turned the corner, and the plus 140 is an absolute gift, in my opinion. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But that's going to be our Pac-12 bets list for this week. And then we have ourselves the SEC bets list, and we have the plus 15.5 to South Carolina, who's playing against Texas A&M. So hopefully Spencer Rattler has himself a game. And if he's an NFL type quarterback, he should have himself a game. Florida in the battle of Florida, Georgia, and Jacksonville. I got Florida plus 14.5. This team hasn't won in this rivalry game in some time, but I think that Saturday they're going to really put a scare into Georgia. They may upset them, but I know they're going to cover this game. They're going to make Georgia really, really play in this game. I can feel it. And then we have Mississippi State, who is a bad dog for this week. I think that you have a bad favorite going against a dog that's more than capable of winning the game. You know what I mean? Auburn is not a good team. And Auburn getting 6.5 is a bit too much for me, especially coming out of their game last week where they got absolutely cooked. So I like Mississippi State with the plus 210. I think that's one of the better plays of this week. And so let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. You got Tennessee going against their rival Kentucky. This should be a really good game, but I feel like Kentucky is not on the same level as Tennessee. If the game was played a few weeks ago, probably so. But this week, no. I feel like Joe Mixon is going to have himself a really good game. They've been playing against really good teams. So they want to get this bounce back win here and get themselves back in the win column as well, too. And then you got Ole Miss playing Vandy. This should really be a 5-touchdown win or better for Ole Miss. This is a practice game for Lane Kiffin somewhat if they don't go in there lollygagging. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But that's the SEC bets list for you. All right, we got ourselves the Sun Belt bets list. We have the Georgia State money line minus 105. They got absolutely torched last night, losing 44-27 to their arch rival, Georgia Southern. Then we got Appalachian State playing against Southern Mississippi at home. That 17-point spread, it might be a gift because Southern Mississippi is just that bad. You got Monroe playing against Arkansas State. We're going to take Monroe with the minus 135. You got Marshall in a game that, I really do like them going in, but we know it's kind of a dangerous spot going against Coastal. But I think Marshall's going to have enough to beat them. And then I got Texas State money line against Troy. They are the home team in that spot as well, too. So I do like them with the plus 190 here. And then you got bitter rivalry game between Old Dominion and James Madison. Everybody has to remember, these two used to be absolute war. It used to be absolute war between these two teams in the old Colonial, and now they link back up in the Sun Belt. They're in the same state, all that good stuff. This is always a very, very good game. They kept this game going even when ODU became a FBS school and James Madison was still a FCS school. So they're going to get it on like they always do. And I really do feel that they're overselling James Madison. James Madison has had this type of spread before, and they ran into a lot of trouble that day. So I like Old Dominion with the plus 20.5. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. Now, let's go ahead and get into tonight's tickets. And tonight's tickets are going to be this. We got the FAU Charlotte bets tonight. FAU minus 165. I got FAU first half minus 2.5. I also have overnight first quarter minus 125. And then I got the adjusted line tonight. The line is actually 3.5, but I'm going to play it at 5.5 so I can get the plus 150 and see if they can beat this team by 6 or better. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. We have ourselves the NBA Super High 5 at 30-1. We have the under 222 with the Mavs and the Grizzlies. We have the plus 8.5 with the Heat. We have the over 228 with the Thunder and the Cavs. And then our dog of the day is going to be the Rockets plus 125. And then we got the minus 3 with the Kings tonight. And that's Single What You Like Talking Tickets and the famous bets list. Because I say this is a famous bets list because the NBA Super High 5 is one of my original little cards and things of that nature that I gave out to the public in the early days of gambling Twitter, or now gambling X. So, I've kept the tradition going almost 10 years, and we just going to keep it going. When I got a full schedule in the NBA, we doing the NBA Super High 5. That means we got to have more than 7 to 8 games. You know what I mean? So pretty much with that, let's go ahead and jump into the final tickets that I have, and that's going to be in the World Series tonight, and that's going to be the World Series Game 1 bets. We got the under 8.5 here. We also have the D-backs money line plus 115 first 5 innings. Then we have the Rangers under 4.5 team total minus 110, and then we're going to be a little tricky tonight because I like the Diamondbacks to win this game tonight, and I'm going to take them with the minus 1.5 plus 205 alternate line. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. I need this game to finish up 4-2. That's what I want tonight. It's 4-2. All right. So with that, that's going to be a wrap on the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.